we're scout teams. There's some seniors that were walk-ons. But all those guys are very important to our program. And I just want to wish them the best because they deserve it. They're dogs for life, and we're going to be there for them. To help them transition to life after football, it's just very important to me to let our guys know that and to follow through with that. Thought our coaching staff did a super job. Great game defensively tonight. Their offense is averaging over 30-some points a game, and we were able to hold the 14. It was huge. Even towards the very end, when they're trying to get 7 more on the board, you know, they kept fighting to the very end, and proud of the job they did. Our offensive staff, you know, pulled together under some adversity. Is anytime you lose a coach like Mike Bobo, you know, you gotta rally. You gotta, you know, come together and do that. I know Will Friend's going to be going on to Colorado State with Mike, but Will chose to stay for the bowl game. I think that was very key to our success. It had been very difficult to run this bowl game without Will being there with those offensive linemen. I think they played their tails off for him, for Georgia. John Lilly obviously did a super job of calling the game. He did a very good job of honing the game plan down, spending time with Hudson, making sure he was comfortable with everything that was going on, and then being able to react once we lost Hudson and had to go to Plan B. And you know, Plan B was kind of, I guess it made it a little bit simpler, just give it to Nick. But Nick did a beautiful job, obviously, but he couldn't do it by himself. But you know, he showed everybody in the country again that he's a pretty talented young man and a really tough kid and a good kid. He's got good grades, he behaves well, he kind of minds his own business and goes about his business and in a very positive way. I'm just real proud of Nick. I guess with that, want me to introduce Nick? Or
no, we're good now. We'll take questions.
Questions and answers?
Yeah, questions, raise your hand.
My general comments were probably too long.
Oh, they were great.
Mark, Louisville's defense came in ranked third before the bowl games against the run. Why did you guys have so much success running the ball tonight?
Well, you just you block well and you run well. I mean, it's and you scheme well. You've got to have a good scheme, and I think you have to be patient too, because I mean, I don't know how many times early on we had a 1-yard gain, 2-yard gain, 1-yard gain. You know, it wasn't like we were just plowing through them. You know, when you look at the end result, you think, wow, we really ran the ball well against them, and we did. But it took some patience too. The other thing too is just having the score the way it was, and us trying to chew up as much clock as possible in the second half. That kind of, it didn't force us to run the ball, but we chose to run the ball even more so for that reason. If we were behind 2 scores, we wouldn't have run the ball that well. We'd have been slinging it around the yard trying to get back in the game. You know, so a lot of it had to do with how well we played defense. A lot of it had to do with the score, and a lot of, you know, some of it had to do with just the fact that Hudson was out of the game. We didn't want to put too much on our younger quarterback.
Go to the next question.
Can you talk about your desire to coach in the SEC and sort of the rigors of it and so forth?
Well, you know, I mean, it's I coached for 15 years at Florida State and 1 year at East Carolina, and then taking the Georgia job was an exciting opportunity for me and my family, but you know, it's a rugged league. I mean, you just look at Arkansas. I mean, they were what, 6-6, and saw the kind of game they had, and really Arkansas was probably. I mean, they lose by 1 to Bama. They got Texas A&M by the throat in the 4th quarter, let it go, and they had, gosh, a couple other really close games. If they could have won 2 or 3 close ones, I mean, they might have made it to the SEC championship game. You know, so it's a very tough league, and when you win in this league, you know you've done something very special. And It's not just on the field, it's in recruiting, it's in facilities, it's in coaching staffs. I mean, it's just, it's a league that everybody cares. And the passion of our fans is by far the most exciting thing about our league. And
Press that thing again.
God bless America. Pay the light bill.
Mark, when you think about next year and the optimism, I mean, I would think a lot of it's going to start with Nick.
Yeah, I mean, when you run the ball like that with Nick, and obviously Sony is a pretty good back too. Brendan Douglas is a guy who's done well for us, and I think Keith Marshall is going to get ready to get in the best shape of his career and get back in the saddle there too. So we certainly have some backs that are talented, and it's a good place to start. We've got, as of right now, 4 out of 5 offensive linemen returning, and I hadn't looked at the rest of it, but I think all of our tight ends are back, fullbacks. At least Quavon's back. So we've got some good things offensively building on.
Mark, since
Front row right here.
Coach, do you care to comment on Bryce Ramsey's performance in the game tonight?
Sure. I think Bryce came in, and of course he came in really, really cold. That first throw that he had, that was a pick. We decided to take a shot. He scored. It's a real smart play. We get a pick, maybe throw an interception, which is not exactly what you're hoping for. But I mean, he didn't even have one shot, one opportunity to even warm up. I mean, we were assessing Hudson at the last moment. Ron Corson, our director of sports medicine, didn't really get the word that Hudson was a little bit dizzy until right towards the end of that defensive series that we were in. So we were just like scrambling to get him in the game, and probably shouldn't have put him in that position right there at that moment. He did some good things. He made a couple nice throws that were big on some third down situations and kept drives going. And he made some mistakes too. A couple run checks didn't get it just quite right.